Hello and welcome back. Once again, it is time for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365 Days, where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me by one of my best friends about 2 decades ago. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since and has been a source of great conversation, the kind that we used to have in the comic book shops. And I'm looking to recreate that here today with you. And thank you so much for tuning in. This is a 2004 Abrams press publication, written and curated by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear. There is a link in the description to the Amazon page where you can get your own copy. It will look great on your coffee table, and you can play along at home. Or it also makes a great gift for a geek. I know. Thank you so very much for tuning in. The Golden Age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age runs between 1956 and 1970. The Bronze Age, I'm a Bronze Age baby, runs between 1970 and 1985. And the Copper Age begins in 1985. I get these definitions of the ages from the Overstreet Price Guide's most current edition, from its glossary. I feel that's a very fair place to define the ages and to have a standard to start and perpetuate these conversations about the ages of comic books, such as what age are we in right now? What age did we just leave? And what age do you think we're going towards? Because to have some nebulous, all-catching modern age from 1992 or 1993 until today, that's a bit too much. I rationally cannot accept that. There's just too much has happened, too many good stories, and too many, recent choices in publication. Also, leading into that, I usually make something called the escapism caveat. It's about activism and advocacy and how to balance that with escapism, the need to leave behind this world's problems. Is there a balance? Can the two coexist? Is one taking advantage of the other? Well, tune in and find out. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button and leave a comment while you're there. Tell me what you think about my idea of the escapism caveat. Let's get into it. I use this 365 Days book for its intended purpose. We're going to crack it open to today's date, September the 2nd. We're going to look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age, and then we're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So let's crack open this book. I hope you're having a great day. I hope that you are conquering your problems and not being conquered by them. Seriously. If you tuned in yesterday, we had another punch. This is about a punch as well, and I mentioned something about a strong punch in a comic book. And today might be an example of a weaker punch. Let's get into it. This is September 2nd. This is story by Gardner Fox, art by Fred Gardenier. This is from Detective Comics number 26, April of 1939. This is one issue before the premiere of The Batman. Speed's bone-shattering right puts Pharaoh Fleming in the land of dreamy dreams. Ooh, look at that. Is that dynamic? Does that really put across the power of a punch? I don't know. I mean, it looks pretty flat to me, but let's get to the blurb. Speed Saunders, that's the Speed we're talking about. Speed Saunders, ace investigator, was one of those generic detectives who flourished in the early days of comics, but were on their way out once Superman moved in. Here, Speed looks into the case of Pharaoh Fleming, a gambler attempting to fix a basketball game. Quote, Pharaoh is foiled by the fickle finger of fate as the ever-alert detective pounces on his prey. The artist here, making the most of a punch, had a longer run with the high-hat magician, Zatara. All right, let's look at the art once again. Then we're going to read a bit about Cyril Speed Saunders. And I was right. I didn't know about this. But having last names that are the same in different ages usually means a retcon. What's a retcon? We talk about comic books, and so a retcon is it means retroactive continuity. It means making new stories set in the established past. And sometimes you got to fudge things around to make things fit. So don't we call that a kludgy fit? You know, it doesn't quite fit, but we make it fit. That's a retcons are really good at doing that. And but who is Cyril Speed Saunders? He's a detective. He's a DC Comics character, first appearing in Detective Comics as the first featured character in that anthology series. He premiered in Detective Comics #1, March of 1937. He would later be revived in a supporting character role as the retconned grandfather of the current Kendra Saunders. And Kendra Saunders is Hawk Girl. Like Hawkman, Hawkwoman, Hawk Girl. She's Hawk Girl. The modern Hawk Girl. And the first she's the first cousin to the so Speed, if I'm to believe my comma here, Speed Saunders is the first cousin to the original Hawk Girl, Shira Sanders Hall, who later became Shira Hall, Hol, in the Silver Age, the Thanagarian wife to the policeman Qatar Hall, the Silver Age Hawkman, and she was Hawkwoman. And Speed Sanders is the first featured character in the longest-running series anthology, American comic book series of DC Comics named Detective Comics. He was regularly featured in the series for about 50 issues. And then, he went away. He was a G-man, a government man working in the FBI's River Patrol Division. He also was an adventurer and a detective, depending on the needs of the story. He investigated murder cases and also once fought with a mad scientist who transplanted a human brain into an ape. And it was eventually retconned. It was revealed that he was a private investigator and later a member of the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services. That was the intelligence agency of the United States during World War II. During those times, he met with Wesley Dodds, the original Sandman, and the two became lifelong friends. This was from JSA Secret Files #1 from 1999. Yeah, and that's... So yeah, retcons. Let's look up the word again, because it's good to know what these words mean. And retcon, as a noun, in a film, television series, or other fictional work, is a piece of new information that imposes a different interpretation on previously described events, typically used to facilitate a dramatic plot shift or an account for an inconsistency. As a verb, to revise an aspect of a fictional work, retrospectively, typically by introducing a new piece of information that imposes a different interpretation on previously described events. And it's short for retroactive continuity, and is a literary device in which established diegetic facts in the plot of a fictional work are adjusted, ignored, supplemented, or contradicted by a subsequently published work which recontextualizes or breaks the continuity within the former. Retcons. It's the sword that cuts both ways, and such is continuity. Comic book continuity. It gets so muddled after time that you need the space to make new stories, but it's at the expense of what we call lore, Lore. And as a Star Trek fan, now I'd love to see lore is Data's twin brother. So you have Data and his mirror opposite. We talked about mirror opposites a few days ago. Data, even Lieutenant Commander Data of Star Trek: The Next Generation, has a mirror opposite, and not the mirror universe. We're talking about a literal brother version of his android self named Lore. What's the opposite of data? Myth. Lore. And the lore is the accumulation of these stories. Let's see. A body of traditions and knowledge on a subject, or held by a particular group, typically passed from person to person by word of mouth. Yeah, and it's about myths, mythology, legends, and stories and traditions, folklore. I mean, that's where, and so lore is continuity. Look at Tolkien. That's steeped with lore. Look at George R.R. Martin's The World of Ice and Fire. That is steeped in its lore. This built world, and inside the world, its own shared stories and its own history. Yeah, and so I don't think that lore is a 4-letter word. I love lore. I love, being part of a comic book culture, and that we have such vast knowledge, and that we know things such as the Golden Age and the Silver Age and the Bronze Age, and how all of these stories accumulate in a linear fashion, as well as being just places to escape and to spend a few moments enjoying superhero stories. I love talking about comic books. And if you love talking about comic books, you're in the right place at the right time. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We've been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. I talk about comic books every day. I'm a professional chef. I have a cooking videos playlist called What's Cooking. I'm also known as the Sultan of Soup. My soup videos are nutritious, delicious, and beautiful. Check them out. Come on by for a taste. I'm a spiritual guy, an amateur theologian, an ordained minister. We talk about spirituality, gratitude, and purpose here. So, and we also talk about, I shoot little nature videos early in the morning of bunnies eating their breakfast in the lawn. They get downvotes. Who downvotes a cute bunny? It must be Elmer Fudd or the squirrels. I swear. These things get downvoted all the time. It's all the same to me in the algorithm. So, yeah, at least, tune in and like or dislike. You know what I mean? Go for it. I also point out not stars, but planets in the early morning pre-dawn skies. Look, that's the planet Jupiter. I do that all the time if it's clear. So, tune in. I would love to earn your subscription and be part of your daily YouTube experience. Cheers. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow. Same Sully time, same Sully station. That's a mouthful, huh? Cheers. Good luck. We'll see you tomorrow, okay? Tune in. It's good for you. Talking comic books. Bye-bye.